The 13th Clause. A rental horror story. Chapter 1. The house that was too cheap. When Claire Bennett signed the lease, something inside the wall opened its eyes. She did not hear it. She did not see it. She only felt, for one brief second, the strangest pressure at the back of her neck, as if someone had leaned close enough to read her name over her shoulder. Claire paused with the pen still in her hand. The realtor smiled at her from across the kitchen table. "Everything all right, dear?" Claire looked up. Marjorie Bell was the kind of woman who seemed built for uncomfortable conversations. Late 50s, soft gray curls, pale lipstick, pearl earrings, and a beige coat that looked expensive enough to trust but plain enough not to resent. Her voice was warm in the practiced way of people who had spent many years delivering bad news gently. "Yes," Claire said. But she did not sound sure. The house was silent around them. Too silent. Not peaceful. Not empty. Silent in the way a theater becomes silent right before the curtain rises. Claire glanced toward the hallway. The old farmhouse sat at the far edge of Ashford County, almost 40 minutes outside Boston, though the listing had said commutable suburb. It stood at the end of Briar Lane, where the paved road thinned into gravel and the map app gave up pretending it knew what it was doing. It was not beautiful in the normal way. The paint was peeling around the windows. The roof sagged slightly over the porch. The upstairs shutters hung at uneven angles, like tired eyelids. The mailbox leaned into the weeds. But the inside had surprised her. Original hardwood floors. A brick fireplace. A deep kitchen sink beneath a wide window. Built-in shelves in the living room. A narrow staircase with carved banisters worn smooth by hands long gone. And behind the house, through a warped back door, a small fenced garden waited under winter-brown grass. A garden. Claire had stared at it for almost a full minute. In Chicago, where she had lived before, she had kept 2 basil plants on a fire escape until pigeons destroyed them. Before that, in Ohio, she had grown tomatoes in coffee cans outside her mother's trailer. She had always promised herself that one day she would have a real garden. Not much. Just enough dirt to make something live. The rent was $800 below market. That should have been enough to scare her away. But fear was easier to ignore when your bank account was almost empty. Claire had moved east for work. Not a dream job. Not even close. A customer operations position at a medical billing company called Laurel and Wren Support Services. Salary decent. Benefits acceptable. Hybrid schedule after probation. The recruiter had called it a stable opportunity for someone ready to rebuild. Claire had hated how accurate that sounded. At 31, she had already rebuilt herself too many times. After her father died, after her mother's debt surfaced, after the Chicago apartment got sold to developers, after the boyfriend who promised to come with her decided, 3 days before the move, that long distance might be healthier for both of us. By the time she reached Massachusetts in a rented car full of boxes, she had exactly enough money for first month's rent, security deposit, gas, and 1 week of groceries. Every apartment closer to the city laughed at her budget. Every decent room share wanted 3 references, 2 months deposit, and a personality test disguised as a coffee meeting. Then she found the listing. Charming private home. Quiet area. Garden. Immediate move-in. Flexible lease terms. There were 8 photos. Living room. Kitchen. Bedroom. Bathroom. Garden. All dim, but not suspiciously dim. The place looked old, but livable. The first time Claire messaged Marjorie Bell, the response came in less than 5 minutes. The landlord has approved your application. House is available immediately. Claire had not even applied yet. She wrote back. Could I schedule a viewing? Marjorie replied. The house is in fine condition, dear. Current circumstances make viewings difficult, but the landlord is very accommodating. If you like the layout, we can move quickly. Claire should have stopped there. Instead, she asked for more photos. Marjorie sent 3. A different angle of the kitchen. The garden gate. The upstairs bedroom with morning light across the floor. Claire looked at that bedroom for a long time. She imagined placing her desk by the window. Coffee on the sill. Laptop open. Rain tapping the glass. After work, maybe she would step outside and plant lavender along the fence. Maybe rosemary. Maybe something with bright yellow flowers. Something cheerful enough to make the house look less lonely. She told herself she would only sign if the place felt wrong. Now she sat at the kitchen table, with the lease in front of her and Marjorie watching kindly, and she could not decide whether the house felt wrong or simply old. The pen left a dark line beneath her signature. Claire Elizabeth Bennett. The instant the last letter touched the paper, the pipes made a faint sound. Not a groan. Not a knock. More like a breath pulled through teeth. Claire looked up sharply. Marjorie did not react. From somewhere upstairs, beneath the floorboards or inside the wall, came a soft settling creak. Then silence. Marjorie reached for the lease with a pleased smile. Wonderful. Claire forced herself to smile back. Is the landlord coming by? Oh no, Marjorie said, collecting the pages. He prefers not to interfere. He lives nearby. In a manner of speaking. Claire waited for her to explain. Marjorie slid the lease into a brown folder. He owns several old properties in the county. Very private. But generous, when tenants are respectful. Respectful. You know. Quiet. Responsible. Observant. The words sat strangely between them. Claire glanced at the lease folder. I didn't see any house rules besides the usual. No smoking, no structural changes, no subletting. Marjorie's smile remained. There is one special clause. Claire frowned. I read it. Of course. But she had not really. She had skimmed. Everyone skimmed leases. No pets. No parties. No illegal activity. Report leaks. Replace smoke detector batteries. Pay rent by the 1st. Do not remove appliances. Do not paint without permission. Marjorie opened the folder again, turned to the final page, and tapped a manicured finger near the bottom. Clause 13. The text was smaller than the rest. Claire leaned forward. 13. After midnight, the tenant must not answer, acknowledge, address, knock back, call out to, pray toward, sing to, or otherwise respond to any voice, sound, whisper, tapping, crying, request, accusation, imitation, or conversation originating from within the walls, floors, ceilings, vents, chimney, crawlspace, foundation, or sealed architectural cavities of the property. Claire stared at it. Then she laughed once. Not because it was funny. Because her brain did not know what else to do. What is this? Marjorie's expression did not change. Old houses make old sounds. This says voices. People sue over anything now. Accusation. It is boilerplate. It is absolutely not boilerplate. Marjorie closed the folder. The kitchen light flickered. Only once. Claire looked at it. Marjorie placed the keys on the table. 3 keys on a brass ring. Front door. Back door. Basement. The landlord insists Clause 13 remain in all leases. It protects both parties. From voices in the walls. From misunderstandings. Claire almost stood up. Almost said no. Almost took back the signature. Then she thought of the motel where she had been staying for 6 nights at $93 per night. She thought of her remaining balance. She thought of her first day at the new job on Monday. She thought of how tired she was of having nowhere to put her things. She picked up the keys. "They're just old house noises," Marjorie said softly. Claire turned the brass ring in her hand. The keys were colder than they should have been. "Right," Claire said. Old house noises. Marjorie stood and buttoned her beige coat. "If anything comes up, text me. Do not call after midnight." Claire looked at her. "Why?" Marjorie's smile thinned. "Because after midnight, people say things they don't mean." Chapter 2. The garden behind the house. For the first 2 days, the house behaved. That was how Claire thought of it later. Not that nothing happened. The house still shifted at night. It clicked inside and knocked in the pipes. The radiators hissed like they were sharing secrets with one another. The floorboards complained beneath her feet. The chimney exhaled little drafts of ash-smelling air even though no fire burned in the fireplace. But those were old house sounds. Normal sounds. Explainable sounds. Claire unpacked aggressively, as if arrangement could create belonging. Books on built-in shelves. Mugs in the kitchen cabinet. Work clothes in the narrow closet. Cleaning supplies beneath the sink. A cheap shower curtain printed with blue flowers. A mattress delivered in a box and dragged upstairs by herself, inch by inch, while she cursed the entire moving industry. By Sunday afternoon, the place looked almost like someone lived there. Claire stood in the back garden wearing her coat and gloves, holding a mug of instant coffee. The yard was not large, but it was hers. Or close enough. A leaning wooden fence enclosed the space. At the far end stood a locked garden shed with moss on the roof. Dead vines clung to one side of the house. A stone path, half swallowed by weeds, led from the back door to a small patch of open earth. Claire crouched and touched the soil. Cold. Hard. But real. She could work with real. She imagined spring, lavender, rosemary, marigolds, maybe tomatoes, if there was enough sun. She smiled for the first time in days. That was when she noticed the upstairs window. The house had 2 upstairs bedrooms. One was hers. The other, at the end of the hall, was locked. Marjorie had told her it was used for owner storage. Old furniture, tax records, nothing useful, she had said. Claire had not pushed. The rent was too low to argue over one locked room. Now, from the garden, she could see that locked room's window. Something moved behind the glass. Claire straightened. The window was dark. No curtain. No reflection except pale sky and bare trees. She stared until her eyes watered. Nothing moved. A bird, she told herself. A branch reflection. A trick of light. Then, from inside the house, something knocked 3 times. Not on the door. Not from the pipes. From somewhere deep inside the wall behind the kitchen. Tap. 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 Claire turned toward the back door. The house stared back at her with all its dark windows. She remembered Clause 13. After midnight, the tenant must not answer. It was 3:16 in the afternoon. Claire swallowed. Hello. The moment the word left her mouth, the kitchen window fogged from the inside. A shape appeared in the condensation. Not a face. Not exactly. 2 dark spots. A long blurred oval beneath them. Like someone had pressed their features against the glass from the wrong side. Claire dropped the mug. It shattered on the stone path. Coffee spilled across the frost. She ran inside. The kitchen was empty. The window was clear. The wall behind it was silent. Claire stood there, breathing hard, one hand pressed to her chest. Then her phone buzzed. A text from Marjorie. Settling in well, dear. Claire stared at the message. It had arrived at exactly 3:17. She typed. Is there someone with access to the house? Marjorie replied immediately. No. Why? Claire looked toward the wall. The wallpaper near the kitchen window had a pattern of tiny green leaves. At first glance, nothing unusual. But when she stepped closer, she saw that one leaf had turned brown. No. Not brown. Dark red. Like something beneath the paper had stained through. She backed away. Her phone buzzed again. Claire. She typed. I thought I saw someone upstairs. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Finally. You are alone in the house. Another message followed. Please remember the lease. Claire typed. It's not midnight. This time Marjorie took longer. Then be grateful. Chapter 3. First night after midnight. Claire did not sleep well. She lay in her upstairs bedroom with every lamp on and listened to the house breathe. The wind pressed against the window. The radiator ticked. Somewhere far below, wood creaked and settled. At 11:57 p.m., she sat up. She had not meant to wait for midnight. That would have been childish. Paranoid. But she had watched the clock for almost 40 minutes, pretending not to watch it. Her phone screen glowed on the pillow. 11:58. The house seemed to grow quieter. 11:59. The radiator stopped. The wind stopped. Even the rain outside softened into nothing. Claire could hear her own pulse in her ears. Midnight. Nothing happened. She let out a breath. Idiot, she whispered to herself. Then the wall beside her bed whispered back. Claire. She froze. It was not loud. It was not dramatic. It was not the voice of a demon. It was a woman's voice. Muffled. Close. As if someone stood inside the wall with her mouth almost touching the plaster. Claire, it whispered again. Claire clamped both hands over her mouth. The lease returned to her mind with horrible clarity. Do not answer. Do not acknowledge. Do not address. Her eyes moved to the wall. White plaster. A hairline crack near the baseboard. A nail hole where some previous tenant had hung a picture. Nothing else. The voice came again. Claire, I know you can hear me. Her throat tightened. The voice was not familiar. That somehow made it worse. It was easier to ignore a monster. Harder to ignore a person. A person trapped where no person should be. The voice whispered, please. I don't have much time. Claire squeezed her eyes shut. The mattress shifted beneath her as if the whole room leaned toward the wall. Do not answer, she mouthed silently. The wall gave a soft knock. Tap. 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 Then the woman inside began to cry. Quietly at first. Then harder. Sobbing with the broken, breathless rhythm of someone trying not to be heard. Claire's eyes filled with tears. She hated that. She hated herself for being the kind of person who could still be manipulated by crying after everything life had taken from her. The voice whispered, he told me you would come. Claire opened her eyes. The room was ice cold. He said you signed. Claire did not move. The wall whispered. Did you read the 13th clause? A long silence followed. Then the voice changed. Not into something monstrous. Into something worse. Into Claire's mother. Claire Bear. Claire made a sound before she could stop herself. Not a word. Just a sharp inhale. The wall went silent. Then, very gently, her mother's voice said, "Oh, baby. There you are." Claire threw herself out of bed and ran to the bathroom. She locked the door, turned on the shower, the sink, the fan, anything that made noise. Water roared. The mirror fogged. She sat on the closed toilet lid with her hands pressed over her ears. For 10 minutes, she heard nothing but water. Then a finger drew a line through the fogged mirror from the other side. Slowly. Carefully. Letter by letter. You answered. Claire screamed. Chapter 4. The realtor who never showed the house. At 8:03 the next morning, Claire called Marjorie. The call rang once. Then declined. Claire called again. Declined. She texted. Something happened last night. I need to talk to you. No reply. She called the main number listed under Bell County Properties. Disconnected. She searched the company. No website. No office address. Only the listing page for the house, now marked unavailable. Claire drove into town before work. Ashford looked like many old New England towns trying to survive on charm it no longer felt. Brick storefronts. Antique shops. A closed cinema. A church with a leaning steeple. A diner called Millie's. A pharmacy that looked older than federal law. Bell County Properties was supposed to be on Mercer Street. There was no office. The address belonged to a flower shop. The woman behind the counter had silver hair and dirt under her nails. Claire showed her Marjorie's photo from the listing profile. The woman's expression changed. Just slightly. Enough. You know her? Claire asked. The florist looked toward the front window, then back. You renting Briar Lane? Claire felt her stomach sink. Yes. The woman placed both hands on the counter. You signed already? Yes. The florist exhaled slowly. You need to leave. I tried looking her up. I can't find the company. You won't. Who is she? The woman hesitated. Then said, Marjorie Bell used to live in that house. Claire stared at her. As the landlord? As a tenant? When? The florist looked at her with something close to pity. 22 years ago. Claire's mouth went dry. That's impossible. No, the woman said softly. Impossible is what comes after. Claire felt the shop tilt around her. What happened to her? She disappeared. When? After 3 months. Claire remembered her lease term. Month to month after 90 days. The florist continued, they found all her clothes. Her car. Her purse. Food still in the refrigerator. Back door locked. Front door locked. No forced entry. Just gone. Claire gripped the counter. I met her. I know. She gave me keys. I know. She signed the lease. The florist's voice dropped. Did she use her right hand? Claire searched the memory. Marjorie sliding papers. Marjorie tapping clause 13. Marjorie holding the pen to point. Always with gloves. Always avoiding direct contact. I don't know. The florist reached under the counter and pulled out a newspaper clipping from a drawer, as if she had been waiting years to show someone. The headline read, Local woman vanishes from Briar Lane rental. There was a photo. Marjorie Bell. Younger. Dark hair. No pearl earrings. Same eyes. Claire backed away. The florist said, listen to me carefully. It will use familiar voices first. Then pity. Then guilt. Then secrets. It wants you to respond. What happens if I do? The florist looked past her, toward the street. Then it gets part of you into the wall. Claire whispered, heart. The first answer gives it your attention. The second gives it your voice. The third gives it your name. And after that, the florist did not answer. The bell above the shop door rang. Claire turned. A middle-aged woman in a beige coat entered. Pearl earrings. Soft gray curls. Marjorie Bell smiled. "There you are, dear." The florist's face went white. Claire stumbled backward. Marjorie looked around the flower shop pleasantly. "Still selling dead things in water, Ruth?" The florist whispered, "Get out." Marjorie's smile did not move. "I only came to check on my tenant." Claire's voice shook. "You were missing." Marjorie tilted her head. "Was I?" "You lived in that house." "Yes." "You disappeared." "I moved." "Into the wall." For the first time, Marjorie's smile faded. The temperature inside the flower shop dropped. The buckets of cut flowers shivered. Petals fell from their stems, one after another, soft as ash. Marjorie said quietly, "You should not ask questions you are not ready to live inside." Ruth reached beneath the counter and pulled out a small iron handbell. She rang it once. The sound was bright and sharp. Marjorie flinched. Only for a second. But Claire saw it. Ruth rang the bell again. Marjorie stepped back. Her pleasant face rippled, as if something behind it had pressed outward. Ruth shouted, "Go back before noon." Marjorie's eyes darkened. "Tell her, then," she said to Ruth. "Tell her why the house listens. Tell her who signed the first lease. Tell her what your mother did." Ruth's expression collapsed. Marjorie looked at Claire. "Everyone in Ashford knows something. That is why none of them warned you before you signed." The shop door opened behind her. Cold air swept in. Marjorie stepped backward through it. By the time the bell above the door finished ringing, she was gone. Claire ran outside. Mercer Street was empty. No beige coat. No gray curls. No woman. Only a line of dead petals scattered across the flower shop floor. Chapter 5. The First Tenant. Ruth closed the flower shop early. She locked the door, turned the sign, and led Claire into the back room. It smelled of soil, refrigeration, and dying roses. On a small table beneath a fluorescent light, Ruth placed a shoebox full of clippings, photographs, and folded papers. "I was 12 when my mother cleaned that house," Ruth said. "Back then, people still thought it was just unlucky. What is it really?" Ruth laughed once without humor. "A contract." Claire sat down. Ruth opened the shoebox. The oldest photograph was black and white. A different version of the house stood in a bare field. No garden fence. No neighboring trees. Just the farmhouse, sharp-roofed and severe, with 3 people standing on the porch. A man in a dark suit. A woman in a high-collared dress. A little girl holding a doll. "Built in 1891, Ruth said. "By a lawyer named Elias Voss." Claire leaned closer. The man in the photograph had a long face, deep-set eyes, and one hand resting on the porch railing. His fingers looked unusually thin. Voss specialized in property disputes, Ruth continued. Foreclosures, inheritance fights, tenant removals. He was very good at taking homes away from people who could not afford to fight back. Claire touched the edge of the photograph. What happened? His wife died in that house. Then his daughter. Then his second wife. Then 2 housekeepers. Then a boarder. Every time, there was paperwork proving Voss owned whatever they left behind. People didn't suspect him. Of course they did. But suspicion is not evidence, and Elias Voss understood evidence better than anyone. Ruth pulled out a yellow document. The paper was fragile, covered in dense handwriting. At some point, he began writing unusual clauses into agreements. Employment contracts. Lodging agreements. Debt settlements. People signed because they needed money, work, shelter. After they signed, they started hearing voices in the walls. Claire's skin prickled. Ruth pointed to a line near the bottom. His first version of Clause 13. Claire read. The occupant shall not respond to any petition from the enclosed dead, lest invitation be established and occupancy rights be transferred. Claire looked up. Enclosed dead? Ruth nodded. Voss believed houses could own people if the contract was precise enough. That's insane. Yes. Was he right? Ruth's silence was answer enough. Claire stood and walked to the small back window. Outside, late morning light fell on the alley. People passed carrying groceries, coffee, normal lives. Claire suddenly hated them. Not because they were guilty. Because they were free. What does it want from me? She asked. Ruth came to stand beside her. The house needs a tenant. It has one. No. It has a signer. Not the same thing. Claire turned. The lease gives it permission to begin. Your responses complete the transfer. What transfer? Ruth looked old in the fluorescent light. It wants to put you where the others are. In the walls. And something else will come out. Claire remembered Marjorie's smile. She escaped. Not completely. None of them escape completely. They become agents. Mouths. Hands. People who can walk in daylight if the house allows it. Why would they help it? Because every new tenant gives the old ones a chance to move closer to the surface. Claire thought of the woman crying in the wall. The voice that became her mother. Her stomach turned. How do I break the lease? Ruth shook her head. You don't. There has to be a way. The lease is signed. I'll leave. You can try. What does that mean? Ruth opened another folded paper. This one was newer. A police report. Claire saw Marjorie's name. Ruth said, Marjorie left the house 6 times before she disappeared. Stayed with friends. Slept in her car. Once, she took a bus to Providence. Every time she woke up back in the upstairs bedroom. Claire swallowed. The house doesn't hold your body first, Ruth said. It holds your consent. Once you sign, distance becomes negotiable. Claire sat down slowly. Ruth placed something on the table. A small iron handbell. like the one from the shop counter. My mother used these when she cleaned old houses. Iron interrupts certain things. Not forever. Not strongly. But enough. Claire picked it up. It was heavy and cold. Will it stop the voices? No. Then what does it do? It reminds them they are not allowed to pretend they are human. Chapter 6. The locked room. Claire did not return to work. She emailed her supervisor and claimed food poisoning. Then she drove back to Briar Lane with the iron bell on the passenger seat and Ruth's warning repeating in her head. Do not answer. Do not acknowledge. Do not speak to anything inside the walls. Do not accept help from anyone who comes to the door after dark. Do not open the locked room. That last instruction had come too late. Because by the time Claire reached the house, the locked upstairs room was open. She saw it immediately from the front hall. The door at the end of the upstairs corridor stood ajar. A thin strip of darkness waited beyond it. Claire remained at the bottom of the stairs. The house was quiet. Sunlight came through the living room windows. Dust floated in the air. Nothing whispered. Nothing knocked. That made it worse. Claire took the iron bell and climbed. Each stair groaned beneath her foot. At the top, the hallway stretched narrow and dim. Her bedroom door on the left. Bathroom on the right. Locked room at the end. No longer locked.